Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second session of live talks with our experts, courtesy of Specialist Hospital, Kalyan Nagar, Bangalore. Today we have with us Dr. Krishna Sarin, consultant cardiologist, Specialist Hospital, who will talk about COVID and the effects it has on our heart. Welcome, sir, to the show. Can you start off with telling our viewers how does COVID affect the heart?
Yeah, so COVID has both direct and indirect effects on the heart. The indirect effects are much more common. The direct effects are somewhat rare. So the indirect effects also happen when the COVID is in a very severe stage. For example, the COVID affects the lungs, the patient develops a pneumonia, and then as the pneumonia gets severe, the heart gradually gets affected. That's how the indirect effects are much more than the direct effects. So among the indirect effects, if you visualize the lungs form a bridge between the right heart and the left heart. So the right heart pumps blood into the lungs, and from the lungs it picks up oxygen and reaches the left heart. So when the lungs get affected, the right heart finds it more difficult to pump blood into the lungs. So the pressures on the right heart go up and the right heart may fail. And because the lungs are affected, less oxygen reaches the left heart. So most of the blood that reaches the left heart is devoid of enough oxygen. So effects related to hypoxia, low oxygen content. So the left heart starts pumping suboptimally. The pumping function of the heart reduces, and thus it affects the left heart also. So the effects of these the right heart pressures going up and the left heart pumping coming down, it is manifested in various biomarker elevation, like the usual markers that we use for detecting heart attacks, like troponin. The troponin elevation is very common when the COVID becomes very severe. So these are the indirect effects, the heart pumping coming down and the right heart pressures going up. And other way the COVID can affect heart is by causing what you call as a stress cardiomyopathy. So the COVID is a very stressful situation. So the entire body, not only the lungs, all organ systems can get affected. And there is a barrage of cytokines, other immune markers, inflammatory markers, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and it's a big cocktail that is happening within our body at that time. So what happens is these hormones can affect the heart in a negative way, and the heart pumping can come down because of that itself, not only due to hypoxia. So many people we do see when they come to hospital with severe pneumonia, we find that their heart pumping is also low. And once the pneumonia is treated and they get better over 4 to 5 days, the heart pumping magically recovers. So that is what you call as stress cardiomyopathy. So that is another indirect effect of COVID on the heart.
Thank you, sir. You elaborated well on the indirect effects of COVID and effects on the heart. Are there any direct effects as well?
So definitely, direct effects are rarer but much more definite. For example, COVID, we all know, is a thromboinflammatory condition. So it has, unlike many of the other viral infections, it causes clots, blood clots in any part of the body. For example, if it causes blood clots in the brain, it can cause a stroke. If it happens in the blood vessel supplying the heart, it causes a heart attack. And sometimes it happens in the clotting happens in the veins of the leg. So that leads to something called as a deep vein thrombosis, or a DVT. So clotting can happen anywhere. So with respect to DVT, if you see the vein which forms in the heart, it can travel to the vein which forms in the leg, it can travel to the heart, and it can obstruct the blood flow to the lung arteries. So similar to heart attack, this is sometimes called a lung attack. So the blood supply to the lung is affected. So you can imagine how severe it will be when there is already a pneumonia due to COVID, plus there is a decreased blood supply to the lung because of the clot. So it can even cause cardiac arrest. Patient can collapse at home. They can have a sudden cardiac death. And of course, blood clots happening in the heart arteries will result in a heart attack or a myocardial infarction causing low pumping. So thrombus formation is a major part of the COVID pathology. The other way the COVID can affect heart is by directly infecting the heart. So either COVID or the immune response, the inflammatory response of the body itself can affect the heart, so causing what you call as a myocarditis or a pericarditis. Myocarditis is inflammation of the muscle of the heart. Pericarditis is the pericardium is the covering of the heart. So without affecting the muscle, the covering of the heart can be infected or affected by COVID. So that can cause a pericarditis. So there can be some fluid which collects around the heart. Because of myocarditis, the heart pumping can come down, the patient can have chest pain, so it can cause arrhythmias, rhythm disturbances, electrical abnormalities. So all these are possible with due to the so-called direct effects of COVID. So direct effects, broadly speaking, these are the two direct effects: clot formation and directly affecting the heart, causing myocarditis or pericarditis.
Thank you, sir. We have also heard of people dying suddenly and sometimes while they are recovering from COVID. How does that happen, and what precautions should be taken?
So this is a very common scenario. It was very common, especially during the second wave. So people can die suddenly without any cause. People are at home, they feel mostly fine, maybe some mild fever. They do not come to hospital because they are afraid of the extremely severe case of COVID admitted in the hospital. They fear that they will be affected by COVID themselves. So they delay coming to hospital, and suddenly they can collapse at home and die. And this is also true in the early recovery period after COVID. For example, somebody who recovers from COVID, the oxygen saturation becomes better, and they go home. They are apparently okay, but one fine day suddenly they have some chest pain and collapse and die. So this is most likely due to what you call as hypoxia. So in COVID, what you call as you have happy hypoxia. The low oxygen saturation is not recognized by the patient until it is too late. So we have especially young people coming to hospital when their saturation is as low as 60% or 50%. So because they don't feel hypoxic, it does not mean that their organs are not affected. So the low oxygen saturation, even when the patient is feeling fine, the low oxygen saturation has an effect on the heart. So this can trigger electrical disturbances due to the low oxygen content of the blood itself. So that is one reason, the low oxygen saturation causing arrhythmia triggering. And the other way, when patients start recovering from COVID, they usually feel fine and they start doing their activities. But it should be noted that the hypoxia or low oxygen saturation can happen when they start exercising. So when they rest, when they are sitting, when they are lying down, their oxygen levels may be normal, more than 90%. But once they start walking or they do any undue exertion, the oxygen saturation may precipitously fall. So that hypoxia that occurs with exertion. So if you do undue exertion in the early recovery period, that can trigger hypoxia, low oxygen, and that can trigger arrhythmias and collapse. So that is hypoxia is one reason, and other reasons, as I told you, like the venous thrombosis and the clot going suddenly to the lungs, a heart attack. So all these are direct effects which can also happen in the early recovery period. So that is why we usually measure a biochemical parameter called D-dimer. So D-dimer is a marker of this thromboinflammation. So the degree of clot forming that propensity to form clots in your body. That is what is measured by D-dimer. So if the D-dimer is high, we usually put you on a blood thinner prophylactically to prevent these blood clots and to prevent these heart attacks and venous embolism from happening. So this is the cause for sudden cardiac deaths. It is mostly preventable if you take care during the early recovery period, avoiding too much exertion, and if you take the blood thinners correctly, then it is mostly avoidable.
Thank you, sir. We've learned a new term called happy hypoxia and also the importance of D-dimer values in COVID. Is the damage to heart permanent or can there be complete recovery?
So most of the times the damage is the complete recovery is possible because most are indirect effects, as I told you. So once the pneumonia settles, the stress comes down, the oxygen saturation improves, and then the effect on the heart comes down, the heart pumping improves. Stress cardiomyopathy, as I told you, it is due to the excessive hormones in a hormonal imbalance in that time. So once the pneumonia part settles, most of these cardiac effects are recoverable. But in case of direct effects, for example, like venous embolism, you form a clot in the vein and it goes to the lung and it causes a collapse. So direct effects, it is very important not to ignore the symptoms, especially if you are at home, you develop any new chest pain or any new breathing difficulty or a swelling in one leg and some pain in one leg. So such symptoms you should not ignore and you should seek medical attention early because you should be aware of this propensity for clot formation in COVID situation. So if recognized early, these issues are very well tackled. For example, if you have a heart attack, the golden period is 1 hour. So the first 1 hour or up to even 6 hours, if you are able to reach the hospital, we are able to open the blockage, remove the clots, then the heart pumping improves to near normal. But suppose you wait at home, you are afraid of getting COVID, you wait till the breathing difficulty sets in and the chest pain becomes unbearable. Once it crosses that threshold of around 12 hours, then even if you open the artery, there is not much benefit. So the heart pumping is likely to remain subdued. It is likely to remain subnormal for a long time. So especially with respect to direct effects, it is very important to be aware of your symptoms and reach the hospital early so that we can treat them early. And if you treat them early, definitely the recovery is very good.
So in this COVID situation, there's a lot of stress and anxiety in the community. How does that affect the heart?
So that is one major issue that we are seeing nowadays, especially in the after the second wave. So many people have lost their loved ones, and many people have seen their relatives suffering. They themselves have gone through a very traumatic experience, and they are just recovering from COVID. And in addition to that, there is a lot of misinformation that's going on in the YouTube, WhatsApp, all the social media. And plus they have almost every family has a pulse oximeter with them. So what happens is it is a cocktail of all this, the effect of all this. So they keep checking their oxygen saturation. They see that their heart rate is a little on the higher side. They are worried, so they get anxious, and this pushes the heart rate even further up. So it is a vicious cycle. The anxiety causing the heart rate to go high, heart rate again causing anxiety, and then they come with palpitations, some chest discomfort, and all those things. So it is very important to trust only authentic sources of information. And as I told you, the indirect effects of COVID on the heart are very rare, and it is easy to recognize and treat also. And even if such patients come with palpitations and some chest discomfort, it is usually okay to just do an ECG and an echo, reassure them that they are okay, their heart is okay. But in rare cases, they may even require some anti-anxiety medicines to tide over the crisis. So better to avoid too much of social media and too frequent checking of your oxygen saturation and pulse. All those things you should avoid in the recovery period.
Thank you, sir. You highlighted a very important point that authentic information is to be followed. Can you also tell us and elaborate us about vaccination in cardiac patients? Is it safe, and should they stop blood thinners during vaccination?
Yes, all cardiac patients should have their vaccines. Vaccination is the only way that we now have to prevent a third wave, or if at all it occurs, to reduce the severity of the third wave. So cardiac patients are especially vulnerable for severe COVID. So they all the more reason that if you have an underlying heart condition, you should take the vaccine. And both vaccines are safe. There is no difference between the available vaccines in the studies conducted. So you can take either Covishield or Covaxin or even Sputnik if it is available. With all the vaccines, there is a very, very rare chance of clot formation. So in the sense, it is like 1 out of 2 lakh. So if you give 2 lakh people the vaccine, one person may have the kind of clot formation that we just discussed. It's a the risk versus benefit ratio is heavily in favor of vaccination rather than not getting vaccinated. So all the cardiac patients should get vaccinated. But having said that, in the first 2 to 3 weeks following vaccination, it is better not to exert too much, not to have any heavy exertion. And it is better to be aware of your symptoms like new chest pain, breathing difficulty, or any leg swelling or pain. You should get to hospital and get it checked, and so that we can prevent the problems from happening. So overall, vaccination is safe and everybody should take vaccine. The other issue regarding blood thinners can be continued. Most of the blood thinners can be continued, especially those blood thinners like aspirin, clopidogrel, ticagrelor, which are given following angioplasty or bypass surgery. So those blood thinners you should not stop. Blood thinners can protect you against clots, and you should continue it even on the day of vaccination. For those people who take warfarin or azithromycin following valve surgery, valve replacement surgery, you should check a PT-INR on the day prior and make sure it is not too high. Not too high, I mean less than 3. It should be less than 3. If it is more than 3, maybe you should meet your cardiologist and get the dose reduced, and you can take the vaccine once the INR comes down below 3. Otherwise, all the blood thinners you can continue. There is no problem.
Thank you, sir, for the clarification. We have a question from one of our viewers, Abhinav Tripathi. Thank you for signing in. His question is COVID responsible for cardiac arrest after COVID recovery?
Yes, that's what I just mentioned before. So COVID has all these issues. So we usually find the D-dimer after a severe episode of COVID. Even though the pneumonia settles, the D-dimer remains elevated for weeks together. So it is important that you check the D-dimer and make sure if it is too high, you have to take a blood thinner to prevent these thrombotic complications of COVID. So the hypoxia will improve once the pneumonia settles, but even then you should avoid heavy exertion. And for preventing thrombotic complications, as per your doctor, you should possibly take a blood thinner for maybe weeks together you may need to take to prevent such complications. Definitely COVID can cause sudden cardiac death, and it is known. People who have COVID and have recovered have died from cardiac arrest. People who have died at home without knowing what is the cause, they have come here and we have checked, and we have found that they had COVID in fact. So it is definitely that correlation is there.
Thank you, sir. I hope all our viewers had a good understanding of COVID and its effect on heart. Do we have any parting comments, sir?
Mainly it is sanitizing, masking, and social distancing. Even if you are vaccinated, the vaccination coverage presently is around 30 to 35% only in India. Even in UK, which had 80% coverage, they are having a third wave now. So the third wave is inevitable. So it is in our hands to actually reduce the transmission and actually reduce the peak, how bad the third wave will be. So avoid closed spaces, crowded places, avoid close contact, and get vaccinated as soon as possible.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from one of our viewers, Mani. He asks, out of one of his, let me just read it. One of my friend's grandfather had cardiac arrest after recovery, and how do we prevent that?
Yeah, this is a common scenario that I just explained. So prevention is mainly by continuing all the cardiac medicines as per the doctor's advice. So for the COVID treatment, you need not stop the cardiac medicines. So some hemodynamic considerations may be there. If you have low BP, some medicines cannot be given. If you have a renal problem, some medicines may not be given. But more or less, all the cardiac treatment should continue along with treatment for COVID. And usage of blood thinners to prevent thrombotic complications, and avoiding heavy exertions, and being watchful for any new symptoms. Prevention is better than cure. So if you have any new symptoms, better get checked. So don't worry about getting COVID from the hospital. We have in our hospital a very streamlined procedure wherein from entry point into the ER till the cath lab and till the ICU, you are always separated from COVID patients. We have a separate ICU for non-COVID cardiac procedure, post-cardiac procedure recovery, so that CCU is always separated from COVID patients. So that part is taken care of. So don't worry about coming to the hospital. The earlier you reach, the easier it will be for us to treat you.
Thank you, sir, for also letting our viewers understand the safe protocols that we follow at Specialist Hospital. There is one of suggestions from Mr. George Roche that we should conduct this live sessions in Kannada, which will follow eventually. And thank you for joining us today on our live session. And we will meet you soon with our next informative session. Shortly. Thank you very much.